get right into it because I know everyone's got a lot going on and needs to get busy with other things. But like Sadie said earlier, our discussion today is how ProspectBoss can increase your Medicare sales. And today's agenda, we're going to talk about how do you get started, why you do calls, why you would do Medicare sales, and why ProspectBoss can help you with your Medicare sales. And just a little bit about myself. I am the business development director here at ProspectBoss. I have like over 20 years of sales experience in inside and outside sales. Been President's Club winner of several different industries. Been a sales team leader and have had various roles in as a sales team leader. Just recently joined ProspectBoss as the business development director. So be easy with me today on the questions. Just kidding. But yeah, I just recently just started, and just a fun fact about myself is I do love to travel. I've been to over 20 countries across the world, and that's just a little fun fact about me to let you know who I am. So how do you get started? Well, until you contact your customer, you haven't done anything. And so how do you do that? First of all, you need to set up your office. I would suggest being, especially if you're working from home or even in an office environment, you want it in a quiet location where no noise is to be heard by anyone. And you need good data or leads. The good data or leads, the old saying, garbage in, garbage out. So you want to have good data and leads. And we'll talk a little bit more about that later on in the process of the discussion today of, we do offer good leads and how you can do that. Of course, a good CRM. A CRM basically is your electronic secretary. It helps you keep organized, helps you keep on task of what you need to do day in and day out. And the dialer, of course, helps you with the productivity of making calls, more calls, getting more done in a day's time versus you having to look at the number, look up the number, dial on your cell phone or your, if you have a landline phone, that kind of thing. And then a good script. And when I say a script, I don't mean one that you're going to just read right off of, but it kind of gives you direction of where you need to go, what you need to say if somebody says this, especially for newer agents or newer people in the industry, is very helpful. And then with anything, you need to set goals. Goals help you keep directed, helps you see your achievements, and helps you with encouragement to move forward on making calls. And just some best practices that we offer here at ProspectBoss, and I should have said this at the very beginning, but we do these webinars all the time for our clients or our potential clients, just to give them best practices. And one of the things that we always talk about is you schedule prospecting time on your calendar. Whether you use Outlook, Google Calendar, whatever kind of calendar system you use, you want to schedule prospecting time on the calendar because that makes it important to you and you will do it. Because calling is one of the hardest things that people don't like to do, but we have to do it in our business. So this just gives you that extra push. And I would definitely suggest at least 10 hours per week of prospecting. Now, if you're totally telesales, that's going to be more. If you're outside sales and you're mixing it up, then it could be a little less, but you want to do at least 10 hours per week and vary your calling times. And that would be something you have to experiment with based on your area and who you're calling. Some of the best times that we have found in the industry for Medicare, based on the information and feedback from other agents that we help, it's 9 to 11 a.m. and 5 to 8 p.m. per night. And once again, some of the best practices is to have a script of some time just to keep you on focus. And in that script, of course, you want to have a brief introduction. You want to relate challenges that they may be experiencing in the business world. We're doing research on each business to find out what those challenges may be. But in Medicare, it's going to be similar from person to person. So you're going to use those challenges. You're going to have a brief statement of how you can help them with those challenges. And then just simply ask them, can you help them with those challenges? And then schedule your next step. In our case, in a business world, it's appointments. It may be something different for you, the next steps in Medicare that you may need to do. But this is just once again, this is just some of the information that we provide to all of our clients or potential clients. We do in webinars. And what do you do during a call? The most important thing is listening. Customers will tell you a lot of things just by listening, by you not even having to ask the questions. You will hear a lot of things if you would just talk less and listen more. The other thing too is to make sure that you ask open-ended questions, not questions that lead to yes or no, because that will get you more information. You want to be sincere in your conversation, because we all know that people buy from people that they see that cares for them and they like. So just be sincere, and then customize your conversation to the audience. Whatever person you're talking to, you want to make sure that you are um, relating it to them in some way. And then you want to exude confidence. Always make sure that they understand that you're the expert and that you're there to help them. And that leads to the point of being an advisor and not just a sales rep or a sales agent. And Zig Ziglar was a famous person in sales, wrote a lot of books, did a lot of seminars, and he used to say, you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. And that's true in calling. You just have to start somewhere to get to that next level. And why do we call? Because 70% of all sellers are connected with buyers through calling. And 7 out of every 10 buyers have accepted a cold call from a seller to proceed to that next level. So it's important that we call. And it's proven, a Crunch-based survey that just recently came out showed that 42% less growth in your sales if you don't cold call. So that's 42% less revenue, 42% less commission. And it does take an average of 8 or more calls to reach a prospective buyer. So it's not like you're going to reach that buyer the very first time. You're going to have to be persistent. And that's where the CRM comes into place with ProspectBoss. That CRM is going to guide you each day with a task. It's going to automate some things for you to stay in contact with that customer. Doesn't mean you need to make 8 physical calls on a phone. It could be an email, it could be a text, it could be any form of communication or engagement tools that we do offer here at ProspectBoss that we'll talk about in just a few minutes. And just calling is numbers game. We all know that sales is a numbers game. The more people you get in front of, the more opportunities you have. There's a lot of no's to get to yeses. And the vast majority of cold calling goes nowhere at first. As we said earlier, it takes 8 contacts to reach them. So you can't slow down. You have to accept that rejection is a fact of the sales life, but you have to continue on in order to be successful. And Eleanor Roosevelt, who was one of our first ladies, said, I am today because of the choices I made yesterday. And that is so true in sales and in calling. Whatever we do today reflects on what we are having, or whatever we do yesterday is reflecting on what is going to happen today. So just keep pushing on and keep moving forward on the calling process, and sales ProspectBoss will definitely help you with that. Medicare sales, the simple reason why you want to be in that is because there's a lot of people aging in America. These are just some statistics. I won't bore you by reading all of these, but the opportunity is there. We just have to figure out how to engage these opportunities. And of course, ProspectBoss is here to do that for you. This is just a little cute thing that I saw. It says age is simply a number of years that the world has been enjoying you. So that is definitely true in how we should view life and each other. So ProspectBoss, how can we help you? Some of the top things that ProspectBoss offers is lead integrations from third parties, such as Facebook. So any leads that you have coming from third parties would automatically be placed into the CRM and sales dialer of ProspectBoss, and it will prompt you when some type of notification that you have a new lead and for you to reach out to them. The CRM gives you organizational skills that if you may not have them, it automatically does them for you. If you don't have the opportunity to have a live secretary or an assistant, it provides those tools for you. It keeps you on task with doing emails, calls, any type of thing of that nature that you may need to do in order to reach out to a client. It's an engagement tool, but it actually keeps you organized because it'll give you a specific phone number that you can use from ProspectBoss. You do not have to have a voice over internet system or any type of telephone. All you need is a simple headset and plug into your computer with an internet connection. So it relieves you some cost there as well. And the next thing I would say is that is very important and it really increases your productivity is the fact that we can do over 200 calls per hour. So you can't do that as a human being. There's just no way. If you have to look up the number, go to your phone, dial the number, then enter all the information in as your after you had each call. It's just not humanly possible to make 200 calls per hour without a dialer. And so this dialer with the integration of the CRM will definitely increase your productivity. So if you do 10 hours a week at 200 calls, you have over 2,000 calls in a week just by using the dialer to reach out to people. We also provide texting services. You can text directly from the CRM as you're talking to someone. We have email services there that you can directly connect by email. We have ringless messaging services that you can do. You can actually send a message to a customer without their phone ringing. So if you wanted to do that overnight so that it doesn't call at a time that would be inconvenient, you could do that as well. And then we offer video messaging inside of an email, which is becoming very popular with attracting clients as well. So those are just some of the top reasons why I would say to reach out to ProspectBoss to help you with your business. The next thing that we're very excited about and has been an ongoing issue with a lot of people who deal with telemarketing or calling clients, numbers come up as spam likely even when they're not spam likely numbers. That's mainly due to carriers such as Verizon, T-Mobile, Sprint, and those cracking down on spam calls. It seems like they have just included a lot of numbers that are not even spam. So what did we do? We, as ProspectBoss, decided we had to do something, and we're going to be a leader on this. We're probably the second dialer in the country who is doing what we call branded caller ID. What that's going to do is going to provide that the numbers do not come up as spam likely when someone is called from the numbers that you choose from ProspectBoss. That's going to give you more contacts to answer your calls. It's going to give you a longer, high quality conversation, and it's going to dramatically reduce the risk of a spam flag when calls are made. I'm sure if you're making calls now, you have run into this situation currently because it has really been ramped up in the last 3 or 4 months. But this is definitely becoming a part of our system. In the next 2 weeks, we will have the brander call ID added. We will first roll it out to cover the carriers of Sprint, T-Mobile, and Verizon, and then 30 days after that will be AT&T. So we will have all the 4 major carriers covered within the next 30 to 45 days on the branded caller ID, and we're very excited about that. We're also a lead source for you. We do provide numerous leads through our proprietary software that we have. We're updating it constantly, but one of the things that probably would be most attractive to you would be our T65 interactive map. And what this map does is a map of the United States, so whatever areas you cover should be on this map. And you can go state specific and you can see that it's highlighted in colors, whether it's light blue, dark blue, or a medium shade of blue, tells the density of the population of that area that you need to reach out to. Obviously, the darker blues are the areas you want to concentrate on, and you can choose up to 5 counties at a time to get the information from. And what this map does is it puts it in a CVS file that you can download to our dialer and the CRM for you to actually call. It does do a do not call scrub for you automatically. You can do this search by age, sex, income, credit rating, and so on and so forth. You can break it down to the smallest detail of information that you want to redefine your search as broad or as narrow as you want it to be. It also provides the information provided will be, of course, their name, address, phone number, and any other kind of information that we may have about that individual would be located on that T65 information that would be downloaded into the CRM and ProspectBoss. Having a little difficulty here, just a couple of seconds. Here. So we do have a lot of exciting things coming soon to ProspectBoss, and when I say soon, it would be within the next the end of this quarter, which would be in April, and then of course the following quarters would be September. We would have some things rolling out, and that's the mobile app. The mobile app should be out by the end of this quarter. The mobile app, we wanted to roll that out because a lot of people are using their phones for everything that they do, and we just wanted them to have that availability to you. So we're very excited about this, and we are going to be rolling that out very soon. And then lastly, the thing that we're doing is we're becoming a contact-centric CRM by the end of the third quarter, excuse me. And what is a contact-centric CRM? If you're familiar with HubSpot, Zoho, even Salesforce, they are contact-centric. Everything is done by the individual person or their business name versus the campaign, whereas now most dialers and CRMs that you use with dialers are campaign-specific. So this will make it a full-blown CRM. So you wouldn't need your HubSpots or your Salesforces or whatever you may be using. It would be all packaged in one. So you would get the CRM, you would get the dialer, and you could get lead information. All of this in one package. And we're very excited about that moving forward in the very near future. And it will definitely help you with improving and increasing your sales in the Medicare industry. And once again, I am the Business Development Director, and this is my contact information. You can find me on LinkedIn, Facebook, or Instagram. But I'll be glad to answer any questions you may have even after today. Feel free to reach out to me by email or my phone anytime, and we'll be glad to assist you with any information that you may have. And I will leave you with this today. Do something today that your future self will thank you for. And that's definitely the process of calling, because the more you call today, the more revenue you'll make tomorrow, and your future self and your family will appreciate that as well. So I'll give it back to Sadie.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you so much, David. There's lots of good stuff in here. I love a lot of the advice that you were talking about earlier in the beginning of just like getting started. Just call, just pick up the phone and call. It's one of those things that maybe by now a lot of people are a lot more used to it because of COVID. A lot of people were home. They picked up sales, or they picked up phone calls and stuff like that, or phone sales, more for those two together, phone sales. But a lot of the stuff that you were talking about is a lot of stuff that we preach here too. So I just love that. If you're getting started in phone calls, just pick up the phone and call, start doing it. But yeah, one thing that Senior Marketing Specialist talks about ProspectBoss a lot whenever we're talking about sales dialers or anything like that, or I'm sorry, that's the old name. Whenever we're talking about CRM dialers or anything like that, ProspectBoss is always the name that pops up. Just so everyone knows, in case you aren't familiar with what that is, it's basically just, it calls 3 or 4 lines, a few different lines at once, and hangs up whenever someone calls. So like you said, you're able to make so many more phone calls when you wouldn't be able to just by yourself. So it's something that is a really, really awesome tool. If you have any questions, please go ahead and put them in that Q&A box. I have a couple of my own, but before, it looks like we have one question. Let's see. I get some local call numbers that does popping noise because the computer is calling. I hang up. How do you solve this? So Terry, is this something that is coming from your side, like it's popping on your side? That's probably a tech question that we might not be able to answer here, but need a little bit more clarification on that. David, while we're waiting for more questions, I do have a question about the phone app. So will that phone app be able to, I guess what features are included on that? Are you able to access everything that you have with ProspectBoss through that, or what does that phone app kind of look like? What can we expect from it?
We're trying to integrate all our services that we have on our current platform into the mobile app. I will tell you it's still in development. We do have our own developers though, so once we roll it out, if there's features that are not necessarily, we didn't think they were important, but you may, we want to hear the feedback from our clients because we can quickly change that because we do have our own developers in-house. So yes, definitely that is something we're planning to do, is to make it fully functional mobile app, just like the platform would be on the computer.
Perfect, love
So I
that.
hope that answers your question.
Yes, 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 it does. Everything's going mobile nowadays, so it's nice to have an option like that. Be able to work from your phone whenever your computer's not working or whatever it may be. We all run into that. Let's see. We do have a couple questions here asking about the cost on it. David, I'll let you decide if you kind of want to go into the cost on that, but I do want to say that if you are a contracted agent with Senior Marketing Specialist, you do get a discount through ProspectBoss. So follow up, we will have follow-up calls going out after this webinar, and you'll be able to talk with our team about how you can get set up with that discount and stuff, but you do have to have at least one contract with us. But David, I don't know if you want to go into the cost or anything like that here. Okay, let's see. David, can you hear me?
There you go. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay. Sorry, it muted out for a minute. The cost is kind of on a per case basis, and I don't want to sound salesy or anything there. It's based on the types of products that you may choose to use, because we're kind of, right now, we're a la carte type business. We are thinking about, once we roll out the full CRM, being more contract centric, we'll have more packages. But what I would suggest you do is you could reach out to me by my email with no obligation, and just tell me your circumstances or your scenario, and I'll be more than glad to be very apparent with you up front of what the pricing is. I will let you know that we're probably one of the lower cost CRMs and sales dollars in the business. We kind of try to keep our costs down as low as possible to make it more efficient for you. But like Sadie said, we also do offer a discount through your services as well, and we'll be glad to assist you in any way with pricing. But that's the best way to handle that, because everybody's pricing could be different based on what scenario they want for their business. But we do have a website. If you want to just look at general pricing, you can go to www.prospectboss.com. We're very apparent on there as to what the general costs are.
Perfect. And we do have someone asking about a little bit more about how you price it. She's asking, is the cost per dial, or how is the price kind of spread out there?
No, that's a good question, and I should have addressed that in my presentation. I will say this is my first presentation, so there's probably a little opportunity for some more information that I may have left out. So let me definitely answer that question. Once you pay, we do it by a monthly charge, whatever services you choose to do. There is no contract, so you can, if you decide next month you don't want to do it, or it's not cost effective for you, you can cancel at any time, as long as you give us notice before the next charge happens on your card. And as far as the cost is concerned, it is this one monthly charge. So if you make one call or a million calls, it's no different in pricing. We do not charge per call. Now, let me also be apparent with you. We do charge for texting over certain limits. It's 1,000 is your first credit, and then after that, you have to buy more credits. But 1,000 texts are a lot. So that and the ringless messaging are the two things that we do additionally charge for. But as far as the actual physical calling, no, we do not charge by call.
Awesome. And the same person that asked that question said, I really like what you're offering. It sounds great. Let's see. Okay, we
Great.
have
Please reach out to me.
What'd you say?
I said, great. Tell her to reach out to me.
Yes, sir. Yes, absolutely.
Or him, whoever it may be. We'd like to help them.
Yes. Okay, we have one more question here. If you have any more questions, go ahead and put them in there. Otherwise, after this, we will get everybody back to their day. But I like this question to end on. Arnie says, I have started using ProspectBoss and it's great. Unfortunately, I haven't had much success at connecting with people who are interested. So David, since you have so much background experience and 20 years in sales and all that sort of stuff, what kind of advice do you have for people who the system is working great, nothing with the system, but just some sales techniques and over, phone calling and phone sales and stuff like that?
Well, just going back to my original conversation is you just have to keep doing it. I mean, it is a numbers game. Um, the 200 calls a day, an hour. I mean, just for an example, I'll tell you, as the business development director, I try to make 100 to 200 calls a day, just reaching out to additional clients. And so, that's 1 hour for me out of my day. So definitely would say just be consistent. Do those things I talked about earlier about making sure you have that scheduled time for you. Because I'll be honest with you, over the course of 20 years of selling, prospecting and calling is probably not my most favorite thing to do, and it's probably not most people's, because you don't get a lot of results at first, but you have to be consistent and you have to just keep on and on and on. I had a guy who told me in the very beginning of my career, keep calling them until they die or fill out a restraining order against you. I mean, that's a little humor, and I don't think you should go that's length, but that's really what I would say is consistency and just keep on and on and on calling, because like I said, there's a lot of no's, but there are yeses out there.
Yes, absolutely.
So that
I
would be
would
my
agree with
suggestion.
all of that. Yeah. Alrighty, it looks like we don't have any more questions. So, David, thank you so much for your time. We have people saying thank you. This is great. We will be sending out a follow-up email after this and also be having follow-up calls. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact Senior Marketing Specialist or contact David if you would like. We want to get your all of your questions answered and continue the conversation about how ProspectBoss can help you out. We're big fans of it here at Senior Marketing Specialist. So, David, thank you so much, and we'll see everybody next time.
All right, thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. It was nice talking to you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.